Shuklam Bharadharam Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavanam Dhyayetu Sarva Vighna Upashantaye Om Bhadram Karnebhih Shrunuyama Devaः Bhadram Pasyema Akshabhiryajatraः Sthirairangai Tushtvagum Sastanubhiः Vyasema Devahitam Yadayuhu Swasti na Indro Vruddhashravaः Swasti na Pusha Vishvavedaः Swasti nastarcyo Arishtanemi Swasti no Bruhaspatir Dadatu Om Shanti 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 Om Agne Naya Supatha Raje Asman Vishwani Deva Vajunani Vidwan Jyodhyasmajjuhuranameno Bhuishtham Te Nama Uktim Vidhema Om Shanti 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 Om Brahman Brahmano Brahmavatsyasi Chayatam Arashtre Rajanyaha Shuraishavyo Ativyadhi Maharatho Jayatam Dugdhri Dhenuhu Odhanadvan Asussaptihi Purandhiryosha Jishnuradheshta Sabheyo Yuva Asya Jamanasya Viro Jayatam Nikame Nikamenaha Parjanyo Varshato Palavatyo na Oshadhayaha Pachyamtam Yogakshemo naha Kalpetam Om Shanti 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 Om Apyayantu Mamangani Vatpranaschakshuः Shrotramatho Balamindriyani cha sarvani Sarvam Brahma Upanishadam Maham Brahma Nirakuryam Mama Brahma Nirakarotu Anirakaranamastu Anirakaranam me astu Tadatmani Nirateya Upanishatsu Dharmaः Te Mayi Santu Te Mayi Santu Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So we are now in the Omkara Upanishad, otherwise called. All it is trying to define and understand what is the Atma inside and how many parts the Atma contains and what would be the ultimate result when you have got the Atma Gnana, Atma, and when you have the Atma Gnana, it results into Atma Ananda. That Atma Ananda means it's a Paramananda. So that is possible through the mystic syllable, the Vyahruti we call it. In Veda it is very popular. So that's called Omkara. So the Omkara has got the four parts that we have noted down, saying that Jagrata Avastha, Swapna Avastha, Nidra Avastha, Turiya Avastha. So these are all the stages which the Atma inside would go through, and one has to transcend. But more important that we note down is the Manas. The mind only is wakeful, and that mind converts itself into or takes into the form of dream. And when once the mind activity is less, is overcome, then we have got the Ishvara Anugraham, And that's what we are going to talk about it. We have gone through already up to there are only 12 mantras or 12 verses in Mundukhyopanishad, but within the short length, the Mandukya Maharshi has made a wonderful heyday where he has pointed out many advantageous things. So, the Kishore who has been working, who is in our Veda Kendra with another Veda group, and he wants to point out the interesting comment how the Upanishads are they are uh, connected each other and pointing out. I just read out the three principal Upanishads of the Atharvaveda, namely Prasna, Mundaka, and Mandukya, can be treated as single spiritual progression of 1, 4, 3 mantras rather than as independent texts. Actually, in our series of Upanishads, we have completed Prashna Upanishad, where in the fifth question or so, Patpalada Maharshi talks about the Omkara, and one time, two times, three times, and the Anubhava and all that. So thereby, the Omkara Upasana is again introspection, trying to go deeper into our Atma and try to explore whatever it is and possible things, and ultimately to add Ananda to that. And now the Mundaka Upanishad, which has got 64 mantras, and we have had a introductory talk just to giving some insights from Mundaka Upanishad by Dr. Shachi Tiwari, professor of Sanskrit, Delhi University, retired, but she's a wonderful scholar. She has written a book on Mundaka Upanishad, her book, but still she was able to give a few insights from Mundaka Upanishad, 64 mantras, and explain 2 mantras of them with a selection and all that, so that we are aware. But still, next we are going to start with the Mundaka Upanishad analysis and discussions, and also explanations in our own manner in the Upanishad series. And the last one is that the third one is Mandukya Upanishad, with which we are now going on, and we already covered around 10 mantras, and 11 and 12 are waiting to see the conclusion of that. So he thinks that Mr. Kishore Pathak thinks that can be read as a single spiritual progression, and totally we have got 143 mantras, and therefore in these 143 mantras, when we just talk about this Prashna Upanishad, it introduces the universe. Rather, it is introduction, examining the universe, prajna, universe, the prana Shakti, because prana itself is Omkara. And as you meditate upon the Om, the prana becomes activated. Other sense, the Paramatma's Anugraha will dawn and will work up very much in that. And again, we have the states of experience of that prana inside. Pranopana, Vyana, Udana, Samana. And though there are 4 other pranas other than prana, that prana Shakti, Omkara Shakti itself will be working with the other vayus, and therefore we have the Omkara, and this particular point is introduction, and prana states of experience and significance of Om. In fact, here we can refer to that Uma Sahasram, Kavyakantha Ganapati, who is follower of Ramana Maharshi, He has written 1,000 verses or so, Uma Sahasram or so. And he is a wonderful scholar, a spiritual teacher, and has had great spiritual experience. Kavya Kantha Ganapati, and in Pondicherry, he very much was there. So in that, he wants to identify Uma itself is Omkara Swarupini, Mahashakti Swarupini, and the Omkara is the Sarasakti of Devi Uma, and therefore when you say for Omkara, A, U, Ma, which the sounds and syllables which our Mandukya Maharshi also pointed out in the concluding verses of his Upanishads. And so this is the Sara Shakti, and it is Nada Atma, and it is actually we are able to realize the Dharakasha Nadam, and so Umaha, and it is otherwise Aomkara is otherwise Uma also called as the uh, is called as the Devi Pranavam. So Devi is Shakti, and there will be with the help of the Uma, the Chitta Vritti will have an elevation, and there will be also scope for Paranubhuti, and all that you are able to get up because the Prana Shakti is very important in all people. And again, the Omkara significance is immense, and Uma Sahasram is one text which where the Ganapati, and we have had a wonderful discourse by one of the noted spiritualists and pravachanakaras, Samavedam Sharma, and so the Omkara prepares the seeker's mind by answering fundamental questions about existence. So the Sat is being explained by this, and Mundaka then takes the inquiry deeper, shifting attention from the universe to Brahman. And Brahman is the source. And in all Puranas and all Vedas tell that Ekayid Devaha. So Brahma Upanishads like Ganapati Upanishad or Surya Upanishad, they all talk about the fact that the universe is Brahman. Even in Narayaniyam, in the eighth Dashaka, that Bhattatari explains, talking about the Pralayam and how the universe was visualized by the Paramatma, Brahman, Ishvara, and later all things have come into existence and forth. So, like that, we have got the Mundaka Upanishad trying to talk about the Brahman and identifying or making that Brahman itself is the universe. That's why we haven't talked that man is universe and universe is man. That's why whenever we say Pravara, Chatusagara Paryantam Go Brahmanebhyaha Shubham Bhavatu, this is the at first desire of any Upasaka or Sandhya Upasaka by doing the Vandanam to Sandhya Devi. So when the entire universe is Brahma Swarupam and that is being properly supported, then the individuals and the other Prakriti will be very much live. Secondly, the Upmandaka Upanishad explains the creation. It is distinguishing the higher knowledge from lower knowledge. In fact, Dr. Shashi Tiwari also pointed out what is higher knowledge, what is lower knowledge. And her talk is now going on, running in the YouTube, what it has been. She has given that talk, Nada Veda Kendra and Waves. And it outlines the path of realization through tapas. Tapasa Brahma Vijignasasva. Taittiriya Maharshis, they say that tapasa Brahma Vijignasasva. Unless you have that focused meditation and approach and vairagya and tyaga and all that, then you will be able to note down through tapas. And how Brahman is to be known. The central concern is the epistemological, how Brahman is to be known. Mandukya brings this journey to its culmination by analyzing the consciousness itself through the four states, as I want: waking, that is Jagrada Avastha, and a dream, Swapna Avastha, deep sleep, the Nidra Avastha, and Turiya beyond it. So, in this, we are coming to note down that Om is no longer merely a support for meditation, but the very symbol of reality and the self. So, in fact, we have got so many pictures telling analyzing the Omkara. The other day I saw in the Hindu temple at this place where the big Omkara is done, all these states which are mentioned above are being marked: Jagrada Avastha, Swapna Avastha, and Sleep Avastha, and ultimately the Turiya Avastha and final. In fact, it was said that Turiya also is there. So here it is all the Omkara meditation is having multiple benefits. So even this Mandukya Maharshi also gives us the benefits of Omkara in the sixth, eighth, seventh mantra verses. And so people can get attracted to the Omkara Upasana. Therefore, the meditation, the very symbol of reality and the self. What is that? The Prashna introduces Om, Mundaka enjoys Om as the means, and Mandukya reveals its ultimate meaning. Together, these three Upanishads trace seamless movement from the universe to Brahman to direct realization of the self. So actually, human birth is very valuable because it has two folds. And when once the birth on the land takes place, the Paramatma also divides himself and stays in each and every being that is born on the land. But it is up to the being, the man, to work up what the next extra thing is there. In fact, in Aitareya Upanishad, that Maharshi tells that one has to realize what Bhuloka we have come on is not the ultimate loka, but there is another loka. It's called Paraloka, Bhuloka and Paraloka. And all those who have come to Bhuloka, Aitareya Maharshi will tell that they have to remember the Paraloka and work up so that they can have the benefits from all these things. Therefore, he says that we have, that there is a seamless movement from the universe to Brahman, and that's what we call Brahma. And all this knowledge is possible for only humans. Brahma Jnanam Prathamam Purastat Visimata Surucho Vena Avaha Sabudhriya Upama Asya Vishtha. So this mantra is really telling us that Gnanam Brahmaja. The Brahmaja Gnanam Prathamam at first. Purastat. Before any knowledge comes into being is the Brahmagnanam. And from Brahmagnana only all these things will come up. That's exactly what you see in the Vishnu Sahasranamam, that yogo, jnanam, tatha sankhyam, vidya, silpadicha, etat sarvam janardanat. ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಆ ಜನಾರ್ದನನಿಂದ, ಆ ಜನಾರ್ದನ ಈಸ್ ದಿ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮನ್. ಆ ಜನಾರ್ದನದಿಂದಲೇ, because he is localized also, apart from his Vaikuntha Sthanam, that he is localized. So there is also, there's also Vaikuntha Varnanam in our Puranas and also in Bhagavatam, and how the Vaikuntha looks like, because every year we are all oriented to go to Vaikuntha Dwaram. You see, that's why it's called Vaikuntha Ekadasi, people say. So Vaikuntha Ekadasi means going through the north door in the Venkatramana Swami temple or Vishnu temple. They go like that. So it is a matter that they are Punyavantas and they don't want to stay on Bhuloka and go through all the sufferings and again return to the Bhuloka, but they want to go to Vaikuntha Loka and settle. And that's why you had Vikunta and even Lakshmi in the Simhasasranamam, a compliment is being given to him. Vaikunthaya Vikunthaya Kesikanthaya Kantine Kantiravaya Luntaya Narasimhaya Te Namaha. So you observe in this the powerful takara. Ta 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 ta. So Narasimha Swami is a takara. Because he's Ugram, Veeram, Mahavishnum, Jwalantam, Sarvatomukham. So the Sarvatomukham is this Brahman, where there is nothing that is hiding from Brahman. Everything is Brahma, everything is Brahma Padartha, and that's why in Taittiriya Upanishad also, that student, Bhrugurvaiva Arunihi, Varunam Pitaramapasasara Adhihi Bhagavo Brahmeti. That was the question. Then father said, Tapasa Brahma Vijignasasva Tapo Brahmeti. So the Guru cannot give the answer. He is himself in search of the real truth. So no Guru is perfect. Other than that, so this way, what I reflected is that beautiful constitutional convergent understanding, a good exploration of the Brahman, the universe, and the purpose of the man on the earth, and the means that he will be ultimately trying to get hold of or get merged into Brahman, and the gnanam that Brahma has created or produced or bestowed, that will be a means. That is what we call consciousness. So, consciousness also has got a good number of levels. So, there was one conference on consciousness only for 3 days in Bangalore. There is an institute of advanced study in philosophy or something like that. So, behind the IAC, Indian Institute of Science. So our consciousness is really an interesting exploration that every human being must have it. See, actually people feel it's very easy. God has given eyes. You see whatever you want through our eyes. The Panchendriyas have been given to us for easiness, but all the Panchendriyas have got to be mended, directed, and used for the realization of the realities of life and also realize the goals of life also. Therefore, here there is a connectivity, in fact, between that, so that this is a 3 Upanishads which are connected. We can explain that more probably. I think this Kishore is not here. However, he has been making a lot of studies on that, and that's interesting. So here in Mundukhyopanishad, in the 6th verse, we are introduced to the idea that who is this Paramatma? Sarvabhutanam, Sarvasya Bhutanam Prabhavaha. And he is the only one who is at all points of the creation, beginning, maintenance, and annihilation. And in verse 7, we have also noted that the internal subjective world and ultimately the Atman and has got to be realized. So that seventh one, na antapragnam, na bahishpragnam, no bhayataha pragnam, na pragnanaganam, na pragnam, na pragnam, avyavaharyam, agrahyam, alakshanam, achintyam, avyayam, apadesya,
Avyapadesham.
Avyapadesam, and Ekatma Pratyaya
Pratyayataram.
Aram Prapancha
Upasamam.
Prapanchopasamam Shantam Shivam Advaitam Chaturtham Manyante Saatma Savigneyaha. Same way in Narayana Upanishad, it is said, Narayana Upanishad, Atharva Sirsha, Nishkalo Niranjano. So this Narayana is being told to us in this fourth mantra is is the, I mean, the seventh mantra is the explanation of the Brahman, who is deemed to be the Narayana himself, and therefore she says that who is by describing the Narayana to be any and everything, and this sentence is really wonderful. Nishkalo niranjano nirvikalpo nirakhyata suddho deva eko narayana nadvitiyosti kaschitu yayevam veda savishnureva bhavati Om iti agre vyaharetu namayiti paschat narayanaayeti uparishtat Om ityekaksharam brahma Om ityekaksharam. So ultimately, yo havai narayanasyastaksharam padamadyeti vindate prajapatyagum rayasposam gaupatyam tato amrutatvam asnute tato amrutamasnota iti vayam veda. So you see in this seventh mantra that Parabrahma is being ultimately said that he is beyond attributes. Human beings are with attributes, hanker after attributes, and all attributes will die away when the body leaves. But that realization should not be there so long the breath is there. One has to be working to do Devahitam Charantaha, Lokahitam Charantaha. So the Smashana Vasi Adhipati is Shiva, Ishvara. When people asked him, why at all, when you have got so much Ananta Aishwaryam and all that, why you want to rest in Kasi and to Mahasmashanam? Kasi is deemed to be the Mahasmashanam, and those people who die in the Manikarnika, who are burnt in Manikarnika or Kasi, Harishchandra Ghat, or whatever it is, then you will understand they are there, the Shiva and Parvati have their presence and protect and uplift the people who exit from that end. But anyway, in every town we have got Smashanam. It's not like that only Kasi. In all, everywhere, because it's Sarveswaraha. See, Ishvara is not at one place, but is Sarvasya Prabhavaha and Sarveswaraha Sarvajnaha. In which case, and also Yeshaha Yonihi. So in which case, all smashanas are being overlorded by Ishvara, and therefore nobody can escape. Anybody can escape while living with body. Some places to visit, but Smashanam is ultimate for all people because the very word tells us Sma Shanam. Sma means was, Shanam is now sleeping. The body is over, so ready to again for any further actions. So here in the eighth mantra, we have noted that Soyamatma Adhyaksharam Omkara Adimatram Pada Matra matrascha pada akara vukara makara iti. So when you dissect the Omkara, as is done by our all people, Kavya Kantha Ganapati in Uma Sahasram, and this Omkara is a combination of three Shaktis are there. So that's why exactly called as the Uma Pranavam. And it is called Omkara is the Saram. That's what is said. The same Atman is in the Omkara and with the syllables Akara, Ukara, Makara. And also as you utter these syllables, these sounds are that. In fact, it is advised Makara is final. Uma, O-ma. Or so whenever we do Mahanyasam, we just take only Uma Maheswarabhyam Namaha. So Uma and Maheswara. In fact, in Bangalore, we have got Uma Maheswara temple near Bansankari second stage. So there are so many Nilakanteswara, that this and all the temples.
KR Road.
Yeah, KR Road. So that Uma Maheswara temple is special because that all that what we do is connected to Uma and Maheswara. Otherwise also Soma. Umaya Sahitaha Devaha Somaha. Like that Uma is the earliest Shabdam. And when Parvati told his Amma, her Amma, Mena Devi, I'm sorry. So Mena Devi said, Uma, that is, it's all go ahead doing performance. First she denies because you cannot stand the strain of tapas. You are a delicate princess. But Uma, when she said, I can, then she became the Umant. So it is a very old, ancient name acknowledged in the Vedas also. So here, that Makara is being drawn longer than Akara Vukaras. Aum. So Ma is the Sarasakti. Similarly, even the Sabda Rama, see Rakara and Makara, and in between Akara is the Dirgha. So that Makara is the Shakti which will enable us to get into deeper consciousness and identified with Paramatma. So that's why there is called Rama Pranayama also. The Akar, Onkara Pranayama and all that is there. But Rama Pranayama, that's what. So take the deep breath while taking the inhaling, Ra, while exhaling, Ma. So this Rama Shabda has hundreds of significant explanations provided. And Ishvara tells that Rama means 1,000 names of Vishnu, beyond which we don't bother. Now, in the verse number 9, we have got to do that. And this Jagarita Sthan. So, Satish, please repeat this sloka, this mantra, 9 and 10. Jagarita Sthanaha Vaisvanaro Akaraha.
1 minute. 9 and 10, huh?
9 and 10.
Okay. जागरितस्थानः वैश्वानरः अकारः प्रथमा मात्रा आप्तेरादिमत्वाद्वा आप्नोति हवै सर्वान् कामानादिश्च भवति य एवं वेद. 9th. 10th. स्वप्नस्थानस्तैजस उकारो द्वितीया मात्रोत्कर्ष द उभयत्वात् उत्कर्षति हवै ज्ञानसन्ततिं समानश्च भवति नास्या ब्रह्मवित्कुले भवति य एवं वेद. 10th.
So
11th.
beautiful. Yeah, 11th. Please read it.
सुषुप्तस्थानः प्राज्ञो मकारस्तृतीया मात्रा इतेरपीतेर्वा मिनोति हवा इदुगुं सर्वम् अपीतिश्च भवति य एवं वेद. 11th.
12 ಓದ್ಬಿಡಿ.
ಪೇಜು ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ.
ಓಕೆ.
ಓಕೆ. ಅಮಾತ್ರಶ್ಚ ಚತುರ್ಯೋ ಅವ್ಯವಹಾರ್ಯಃ ಪ್ರಪಂಚೋ ಉಪಶಮಃ ಶಿವೋ ಅದ್ವೈತ ಏವ ಓಂಕಾರ ಆತ್ಮೈವ ಸಂವಿಶತ್ಯಾತ್ಮನ ಆತ್ಮಾನಂ ಯ ಏವಂ ವೇದ ಯ ಏವಂ ವೇದ. 2 times. ಯ ಏವಂ ವೇದ ಯ ಏವಂ ವೇದ.
Beautiful. Today I'm just realizing in by Kalidasa in Kumara Sambhavam, this particular statement, Atmana Atmanam ya evam Veda. So even Krishna in Bhagavad Gita would always say that Atma is the tool, Atma is the goal, and Atma is everything. You cannot meddle Atma, without with any other thing, but only Atma. That's why interesting. Kalidasa is a wonderful scholar. Now I realize we cannot gaze the depth of scholarship, and also that's why it's called Kalidasa. Whatever was his earlier name and whatever be the stories, but in Abhignana Sakuntalam, in Vikramanusayyam and Malavikagnimithram, in these 3 places, he has given the gradation of the Ishvara Upasana, Ishvara Anugraha and Ishvara Siddhi. For example, in Malavikagnimithram, the first mantra, the first Nandi sloka, he says that Ekaishwarye stitopi pranata bahupalepi yasvayam krittivasaha kanta sammisradeho yavishayamanasam yaparastat yatinam sanmargalokanaya saha vyapanayatu vaha tamasim vrittimishaha. So long we indulge in the tamasi vritti, in the sense that avidya, in a sense that considering any and everything worldly to be final and happier and continuous, we are not progressing. So you should grow beyond. Therefore, who can help you to do that kind of success in our own effort, tamasa vritti, too, is tamasim vritti mishaha vyapanayatu. Paramatma Ishvara, though how can he do it? That Ishvara or Brahman is Ekaishwarya Sthita. Nobody can have any comparison with that of the wealth and power and every attribute of Ishvara. He is Ananta Shakti, he is Anantaraya and Aparyaptaya, etc. As you have all seen in the Narayana Upanishad also, Narayana is Nirvikalpa, Nirakara, etc. So ಇವೆಲ್ಲ ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರೆ ಆ ಈಶ್ವರ, he has to only come down to uplift the human beings born on the land, that though they enjoy the comforts in the nature, but they can enjoy, but get themselves become fascinated, infatuated, buried in them. That's what in Ishavasyopanishad our Rishi told us. Yajnavalkya Maharshi says, Isavasyamidam sarvam yatkinchit jagatyam jagato. There is no exception given. Any and everything that is existent in the world, punjitaha, you can use it, but with detachment. If you enjoy the material comforts or Aindriya comforts, then you are not progressed. That's exactly what Kalidasa says, Tamasi vritti, Rakshasa vritti, Danava vritti. See, Danavas can never be repaired. When once they got power, when once they got the absolute boons that they acquired, suddenly they become proud. Because Vidya Mada, Dhana Madam, ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಮದ ಅನ್ನೋದು people they lose themselves. So here the Ishvara Vyapanayetu Vaha Tamasim Vritti Mishaha. But how can Ishvara be able to, or Brahman is able to help you to get rid of or overcome the tamasa vritti In second drama, Vikramorusiam, he gives a clue. Saha Iswarahar Brahman Sthanuho. He is a stubborn fellow. He is a pillar. Pillar means helpful for climbing. It's a sadhana. But the siddhi is not immediately available to us. See, in Ujjaini, we have got that Pamavaru, Uma, as Harasiddhi Devata. See, Haranige Siddhi Anukostu, Takatu, Sara Shakti that Uma has got. Without Uma, there is nobody at all successful. Therefore, Ali Harasiddhi Devi. So Kalidasa says Sthira Bhakti Yoga, but Sthira Bhakti Yoga Sulabhaha. See that Paramatma may be Sthanu, maybe this and all that, but if you just devote yourself with focus, go deeper. This exactly we go deeper in the 9th, 10th sloka or 9th sloka also, that when once you are focusing, going deeper and deeper, the sadhana, that means you have all the time is for meditation, all the time for puja, all the time for thinking about yourself, trying to explore through introspection what are the layers that we contain within us. And if this kind of Upanishadic Gnanam is really interesting. So he says Tirabhakti Yoga Salava. And ultimately, if you have adopted that, maybe he's a Stabda or Sthano, but he will be able to grant you, what is that he can give? Nisreyasa. Nisreyas means moksha, that you will not come back again. But moksham, in what form? In Abhijnana Sakuntalam, on this slokam, he says, Ashtamurti Sakshatkara. So who that Ishvara is in 8 forms, Ashtamurti. That's why even in the Lalita Sahasranamam, you get Ashtamurti, Raja, Jaitri, and Dakshinamurti, Swarupini, and Bharat. So Ashtamurti, Raja, Jaitri, andre Tai or Shiva. If Shiva is Ashtamurti, even the Uma also is Ashtamurti. Wife and husband will not have any disparity. There will be parity between them. If there is a disparity between husband and wife, the family will be always problem. ನನ್ನ ಸ್ಯಾಲ್ರಿ ಹೆಚ್ಚಿದೆ, ನನಗೆ ಟೈಮ್ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಇದೆ, ನನಗೆ ಈ ತರಹ if they are able to, if the woman is able to say out distinctions, then the family will not be amity. Supposing a woman says, a wife says to somebody, her husband, your mother has given birth to you, but I have purchased you. Therefore, you should listen to me as servant. ಈ ತರಹ ಟೆಂಪರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಫ್ಯಾಮಿಲಿಯಲ್ಲಿದೆ ಕಷ್ಟ. ಬಟ್ there should be a balance. So that balance is obtained. Ashtamurti is Shiva, Ashtamurti is Alalita, and therefore their parentage or their Mithunam is absolutely supreme. That's why Kalidasa ultimately gives you the philosophy that Vagartha iva samprukta Vagartha pratipattaye Jagatah Pitaro Vande Parvati Parameswaro. Here also Akara, Bukara, Makaras, they conjoin, and the sounds are so powerful that ultimately the Makara is the Shakti Saram. Therefore, he says Onkara, and for all that, you should be having the Atma. That means self-care. Atmana Atmanam Vidhi. Atmana Atmanam Uddharaya. And Atmaiva Guruhu, Atmaiva Bandhu. So, Ananta, Krishna also. Krishna is Iswara, Parabrahma. He is having the Upanishad Saram. Bhagavad Gita Su, Upanishad Su. ಅಂಡ್ ಯೋಗಶಾಸ್ತ್ರೇ ಅನ್ನುವಾಗ ಮೋಕ್ಷ ಶಾಸ್ತ್ರ ಅವಾಗ ಉಪನಿಷತ್ಸು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದಾಗ ವೆನ್ ಭಗವಾನ್ ಸ್ಪೀಕ್ಸ್ he speaks the essence. He will not individualize something like no separation. Even all Upanishads have got their congruence in order to educate the human beings upon the earth, that their lifetime and life scale be really fruitful. ಸೊ ನಮಗೆ ಯೋಗ ಮಾಸ್ಟರ್ ಏನು ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಸೊ ಫ್ರೂಟ್ಫುಲ್ ಲಿವಿಂಗ್ ಅಂತ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸಿ ಆರ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಲಿವಿಂಗ್ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಕೈಂಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಲೈಫ್, ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ another ಯೋಗ. ಕ್ರಿಯಾ ಯೋಗ, ಯೋಗ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. ಬಟ್ ಅಲ್ಟಿಮೇಟ್ಲಿ ವಾಟ್ ಎವರ್ ಯೋಗ ಯು ಅಡಾಪ್ಟ್, that should culminate into fruitful living. What is fruit? Nisreyasayaha. So Nisreyas is the ultimate fruit. All other fruits have no significance to us, but we have only one fruit we want, or the goal. That is what is called moksha. That is chaktena bhunjitaha. Aya, you enjoy. All gates are open for you. But which gate you take, see that you will get into the that what you taste more. So in the 10th or in the 9th verse, we see that Jagarita Vaishwanaraitu. Then now in 10th we'll see. Next to 4 parts, this Mandukya Maharshi is a little advanced than his father. Normally it happens, Sishyadi Chet Parabhavam anta ಹೇಳಿದಾಗ the students are more intelligent and forward and more gnanins than the gurus, because gurus' knowledge many times remains stagnant. But students' gnanam can be, because they are younger people, they will have more scope, more opportunities. And so the guru should be not jealous, but should be happy. That's why in Adhyayana, in that Vedanusasanam, he says that yo yasmakam. So that if there are teachers who are better learned and all that, you go. Tesham tvayasanena prasvasitavyam. So asmat sreya gumso brahmanaha. So if there are brahmanas, learned people better than I, don't think that your guru is supreme and final. Guru is supreme, guru is final. But if there are some other people who are ready to educate and throw light on your existent knowledge, welcome it. That's all. Not that you have to forget the guru who has put you into the road. So that is our Sanatana Dharma is open. No gates closed. Depending upon your pursuit, the quest, and opportunities, you should go. People go to, why Shankara went to Kashmir and got the Sarvajna Peetham award at Sarvatantra Sutantraya Sadatma Advaita Vedine Srimate Shankararyaya Vedanta Gurave Namaha ಅನ್ನುವಾಗ ವೇದಾಂತ ಗುರು ಅಂತ ಸಗದ್ಗುರು ಅಂತ ಹೆಸರು ಬಂದಿದೆ ಅಂದರೆ he has to go to from Kerala already. He has to go to Kashmir because there's a Sharada Peetham. ಸೊ ಕಾಶ್ಮೀರಪುರ ವಾಸಿನಿ ಶಾರದಾಂಬ. ಆ ಶಾರದಾಂಬ ತಗೊಂಡು ಬಂದು 4 ಪ್ಲೇಸಸ್ ಶೃಂಗೇರಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಯು ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವ್ ಹಿಯರ್ ಸ್ವಪ್ನಸ್ಥಾನ ತೈಜಸಸ್ಥಾನ ಉಕಾರ ದ್ವಿತೀಯ ಮಾತ್ರ ಉತ್ಕರ್ಷ ಉಭಯತ್ವಾದ್ ಉತ್ಕರ್ಷತಿ ವೈ ಜ್ಞಾನಸಂತತಿಂ ಸಮಾನಶ್ಚ ಭವತಿ ನಾಸ್ಯಾತ್ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮಾವತ್ kule bhavati evam Veda. It just means that the akara status, we know that. Then now you are accepting the ukara. That's why Auma Om. So when you say Omkara, the akara, ukara, makaras are being sounded and signified, and then only it will be a complete nada. It is otherwise called Pranava Vada. Pranava Nada. Pranava is remaining always fresh. Whenever you take to Omkara Upasana, you learn something plus. ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಇವಾಗ ನಮಗೆ ಓಂಕಾರ, ಯು ಸಿಟ್ ಫಾರ್ 5 minutes or 10 minutes or half an hour or 1 hour. ప్రణవోపాసన చేసే శంకరనారాయణ విధులు వెలసిరి ಅಂತ ತ್ಯಾಗಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ಹೇಳಿದಾರಂದರೆ, ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಇಮ್ಯಾಜಿನ್ ಹಿಸ್ ಇಮ್ಯಾಜಿನೇಷನ್ going higher up and attributing even for the existence of the Sankaranarayana Vidhis, for maintaining the world, for ending the world, for all this activity of them. So the chief key, master key for higher ups in spiritual dam, in the realm of spirituality, is only Omkara. Everything merges into Omkara. So that's what he says that, see, is a Taijasa. Taijasa andre belonging to Tejas, belonging to brilliance, belonging to, and also it gives you the speed and not that. So this is a sphere of activity which people undergo in the dream state. And the Ukara is the second letter of the Om, and because Ukara is the superiority symbol. Ma. See why she is, though Parvati Ammavaru has got hundreds of names, thousands of names, ultimately ಉಮಾಯೈ ನಮಃ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಉಮಾಯೈ ನಮಃ ಅನ್ನುವಾಗ ಆ ಉಮಾ ಅನ್ನೋ ಶಬ್ದವೇ ತುಂಬ ಏನ್ಷಿಯಂಟ್ ನೇಮ್ ಟು ಹರ್. ಸತಿ ಅನ್ನೋದು ತಾನು ಆಮೇಲೆ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಸತಿ ಆಗಲಿ, ಪಾರ್ವತಿ ಆಗಲಿ, ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಕಾಮಾಕ್ಷಿ ಆಗಲಿ, ಆರ್ ವಿಶಾಲಾಕ್ಷಿ ಆಗಲಿ, ಆರ್ ಮೀನಾಕ್ಷಿ ಆಗಲಿ, and so on. So many names are there connected to her eyes, her arms, her whole. And actually, as we see, the gods have not got the blood, flesh, bones. ನಮ್ಮ ಹ್ಯೂಮನ್ ಶರೀರ ತರಹ ಅವ್ರ ಶರೀರ ಅಲ್ಲ. ಶಿವಯುವತಿ ಭಾವೇನ ಬಿಭೃಷೇ ಅಂತ ಶಂಕರರು ಹೇಳಿದಾಗ ಭಾವ, ಭಾವ ಅಂದರೆ ಥಾಟ್. ಸೊ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ ಎನ್ ಇಮ್ಯಾಜಿನೇಷನ್ that anybody could entertain, that ಶಿವಯುವತಿ ಭಾವೇನ ವಿವೃಷೆ. ಅದು ಅಷ್ಟು ಮಾತ್ರ. ಆ ಭಾವ ಎಷ್ಟು ತನಕ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದರೆ ಶಂಕರರೇ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಪರಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ಮಹಿಷಿ ಅಂತಾರೆ. ಸೊ ನೋಡಿದ್ರ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮಹಿಷಿ ಶಬ್ದ ಅಂದರೆ ಮಹಿಷಿ ಅಂದರೆ ಪಟ್ಟಪುರಾಣಿ. ಶಿ ಈಸ್ ದ ಚೀಫ್ ಕ್ವೀನ್, ಸಿಂಹಾಸನೇಶ್ವರಿ ಅಲ್ವಾ. ಶ್ರೀಮಾತ ಶ್ರೀ ಮಹಾರಾಜ್ಞಿ ಶ್ರೀಮತ್ ಸಿಂಹಾಸನ ಐಶ್ವರಿ. ಸೊ ಶಿ ಇಸ್ ಈಶ್ವರ ಈಶ್ವರಿ. ಸೊ ಈಶ್ವರ ಈಶ್ವರಾಣಂ, ಈಶ್ವರಿ ಈಶ್ವರಾಣಂ ಅನ್ನುವಾಗ ಇಬ್ಬರದಲ್ಲಿ ಬ್ಯಾಲೆನ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಬ್ಯಾಲೆನ್ಸ್ ಈಸ್ ಬೀಯಿಂಗ್ obtained between the wife and husband or Shaktis. And when once the balance is being kept up, it is a Sara, it is the essence, it is the petrol. ಫ್ರೆಂಚಲ್ಲಿ ಪೆಟ್ರೋಲ್ಗೆ ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ಲಾಯಸ ಅಂತಾರೆ. ಲಾಯಸ ಅದು ಇಲ್ಲದೆ ಇದ್ದರೆ ಯಾವ ಇಂಜಿನು ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಲ್ಲ. ಆ ಪೆಟ್ರೋಲು ಸ್ಪಾರ್ಕ್ ಪ್ಲಗ್ಗು. ಈ ಸ್ಪಾರ್ಕ್ ಪ್ಲಗ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ತೈಜಸ್. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಸ್ಪಾರ್ಕ್ ಪ್ಲಗ್ಗು ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡದೇ ಇದ್ದರೆ ದಿ ಇಂಜಿನ್ ವೋಂಟ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಅಟ್ ಆಲ್, ಆಸ್ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಆಲ್ ಸೀಯಿಂಗ್. ದಟ್ಸ್ ಆಲ್ ದಿ ಇಂಜಿನಿಯರಿಂಗ್ ಸ್ಕಿಲ್, ಮೆಕ್ಯಾನಿಕಲ್, that people are really divine when they are bringing the material contrivances for the comfort of the human beings to grow, to develop. So everything is Brahma ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದಾಗ, even the mechanical engineering or biomedical engineering or medical electronics engineering, whatever engineering or whatever medicinal values, etc. So all that Brahman only. Tomorrow, Sunday, we are going to have a neurologist who is an expert doctor and specially invited by the Columbia University in Missouri. And they are all having good team of workers to work on the brain and all these neuros. So it's a big subject. And in spite of himself being such a deep, well-wanted medical doctor, yet he is getting on into the spirituality. And he made a good studies on Sundarakanda also. So tomorrow he's going to talk about the Sundarakanda. And because he's a North Indian Hindi language, he told me that he will touch about the Hanuman Chalisa. See, Tulsi Ramayanam, what's called Rama Manasa Charita. And ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ತುಳಸಿದಾಸ್ ಬರೆದಿರುವ ಹನುಮಾನ್ ಚಾಲೀಸ has the light, the entire star. It is a star, it is a pendant of the mala. Therefore, other advantage, every time you people are reciting the Hanuman Chalisa, because the essence of the entire personality and achievement and success. Karya Siddhi Hanumananta. So, Karya Siddhi ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಹೆಂಗಿರಬೇಕು? ಅದೇ ರೀತಿಯಾಗಿ even this Omkaropasana is having three divisions, that is Trimurti Swarupam, and it is a Sarasekti, and therefore this Makara is there, A, U, Ma. So here Mandukya Maharshi in nutshell is telling what these three letters among the Varnamala indicate. When clubbed together, it becomes a mantra, Upasana mantra and Siddhi mantra. Even here, so in Narayana Upanishad or Ganapati Atharva Sirsha Upanishad or in Devi Atharva Sirsha Upanishad or in Surya Atharva Sirsha Upanishad, you observe the dissecting of the Mula Mantram. That Om Namo Narayana and Gam Ganapataye Namaha, Ganakarshihi. So even that mantra in her Ganapati, because Ganesha Vidya, Savitri Vidya, Bhrugu Vidya, so we have all these Upanishads. Ultimately, what are they? They are all taken as the Vidyas. Vidya means to attain the supreme, and there is a guarantee that one would get the supreme and will not return. Actually, though we simply talk about those people saying that so and so has obtained moksha. Those people who attained moksha will not come back and tell you what moksha is there. But in Anugita, why we should read Anugita after Bhagavad Gita, why Krishna becomes a student before the Siddha Purusha and tries to probably recapitulate, though he is a moksha Purusha, or that is capable of granting moksha to all people, but still he is a student, because the studentship is something which cannot be stopped. A professor does not retire in true sense. Even though he retires from, he may stop teaching classes, but his research level will continue like that. For example, I happened to meet another kidney doctor, that is a urologist, and for the past 20 years or so, he is working in the university and also clinical side and research side of then diabetics and all that. Then what he said, "Sir, what are you doing?" He said, "Illapa, I'm just trying to study kidneys. కిడ్నీ చదువుకుంటున్నాను" అన్నాడు. కిడ్నీలు చదువుకోవడం ఏంటి అని 30 ఏళ్ళు చదువుకోవాలి కిడ్నీల గురించి. That is the quest. So to say that that is all Parabrahma. For them, that is a Parabrahma. They are getting to so many things because people are many. But there are hundreds and thousands of difficulties and problems connected to individual parts of our body. That's why we make in no, I'm giving a lecture on that. No. So here, the Omkara, Akara, Bukara, Makaras, now in this sutra, and our Rishi Mandukya is talking about the significance of the Ukara, because the Ukara is having that kind of reference to Swapnavastha, Swapnasthanebhya, and he who knows does about the Bukara well, then he will get into the superior knowledge and he becomes equal to all and finds no one in his line of descendants who is the knower of Brahman. So Bukara Gnana itself is a wonderful stage. And next we come to the Makara Sthanam in the 11th mantra and 12th mantra. There is a conclusion of this, because to tell a large amount of knowledge briefly in a small sutra prayam is not easy. Even Narada Bhakti Sutras also, or Sandilya Bhakti Sutras, or Sauta Sutras, etc. Well, this requires Sutrakaras and Tikakaras, Tatparyakaras, Indexkaras. We have got all these specialized scholarship fellows, and depending upon our taste and requirement and patience and time, we can pursue in those directions. That's why Knowledge is never. So in this, the next word is Makara. That Makara is Sushupti Sthanam, where the Paramatma will stop, and he will have a special enjoyment. And what is that? Makara? It is a final measure, and it has got prajna, gnanam, prajnanam, and gnanaghanam. Even Mahanarana Upanishad will give you sugnanam. So even there are that kind of philosophical elevations to this knowledge. Therefore, when once you are a prajnavan, then you will realize as a being the self inside you. ಸೊ ಆತ್ಮಜ್ಞಾನ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಆತ್ಮಜ್ಞಾನ ವಹೇನಃ ಮೂಢ ಅಂತ ಒಬ್ಬರು ಸುಭಾಷಿತರು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಅಂದರೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಆದರೂ ನಮ್ಮ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನಮಗೆ ತಿಳುವಳಿಕೆ ಇರಬೇಕು. ಅದು ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆದರೆ ವಿಲ್ ನಾಟ್ ಬಿ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರೆಸಿಂಗ್. ಐ ಥಿಂಕ್ ಐ ವಿಲ್ ಸ್ಟಾಪ್ ಹಿಯರ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ವಿ go with the next one, because we get the new idea from the Kishore, who is trying to combine these three Upanishads and say that Prasna, Pippalada Maharshi, Mandukya Maharshi, and Mundaka Upanishad, all these three rishis have tried to pitch upon to give us means to realize the reality Brahman. Om Swasti. I don't know how.
Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryankaravavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Veda Purusha Ashirvada Siddhirastu. Om Matra Charanarpanamastu. Om Swasti. Okay. ಧನ್ಯವಾದ.